I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. It is a Jazz Ticket Tuesday in about 25-ish minutes. We'll be giving away another pair of the Jazz final home game of the season. Jazz Grizzlies coming up on Friday. The Mammoth firing it up at home tonight. Get a nice national audience with an ESPN puck drop, and it's going to be 7:30 here. 6:30 is going to be your pregame right here on the KSL Sports Zone. That's going to be over on 1280, yes, Annapolis? 97.5 will be taken over by the home of the Utah Jazz, who are also playing tonight. They get an early start, so we got a shorter show today thanks to the pregame firing up between the Jazz and the Pelicans. Hey, don't freaking blow it now. This is a bad team you're playing, Jazz, but you've been working so hard to be the worst, and we're almost there. Okay? So that's what you got tonight. Starting up at 5 o'clock, your pregame, 6 o'clock tip-off with the Jazz. But let's talk Mammoth first. Let's kick it off here, as we always do with the cut, top of the program. One of our favorite hockey people to talk to. He's Travis Yost. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Travis Yost, our guest. He covers the NHL for TSN, and he does a really, really good job of doing it. And we love having his fiery opinions and takes on all things NHL. Travis, we know that you share a lot of other time talking to other markets about this, but we assume that you like talking to us the most because we're the fired up new market in the NHL. And, man, this Mammoth team's starting to look pretty good. Welcome to the program.
It sure beats going on Toronto radio and talking about, well, here are the 50 coaches you could hire next week.
Oh, my gosh. And then talking about escorting Austin Matthews out of town. That's an awkward conversation to have at some point. But, hey, we'll take him here in Utah if he's available. Now,
we might get to that here in a minute.
We could. But
okay.
To the matter at hand, though, the Utah Mammoth are right now in that first wild card spot in the West. It's the only place you can really be if you don't have a cajillion points in this Central Division, which the top 3 teams do, and they are really, really good. But this Mammoth team, what they've done from the last time that we talked to you to now, and that is on the verge of going to the playoffs, on the verge of capturing that wild card 1 spot, which I think is so important for them. Still some games standing in their way, but how have you seen this team improve and face some adversity and still be able to stay in that spot?
I think they look fantastic. I mean, they've dealt with slumps like every team in the league does. Like people look, Avalanche feels like the Avalanche clinched a playoff spot in November, and it's probably true. But even the Avalanche have went through stretches this season where they don't look the same team. So to me, a good measure, especially over an 82-game season of a good team, you're going to have a slump or two. It's just inevitable. Can you contain it to a week or two and not a month or two? And that's by and large what the Mammoth did. They dealt with some let's say poor injury luck around the winter months, December into January. Dylan Guenther going down, Logan Cooley missing time. But, as we kind of look into the setup into the playoffs, I'm kind of where I was on the Mammoth back in January-ish. I'm in the same boat now, which is I think they're the 4th best team in the West. That also means, by the way, they're the 4th best team probably in their own division, to your point. And there's obviously a little curious playoff format seeding that the NHL does. I use the word curious so I don't get yelled at because I can't stand the format. But As it stands right now, I think that they would be a likely favorite in a series against Anaheim. They could be or should be a favorite in a series against Vegas, and they may even be, let's say, odds even against an Edmonton Oilers team. In that, we don't know who's going to win the Pacific, but I like the Mammoth in all three of those matchups. Now I will say this, and you kind of led into it with the ESPN game tonight. Can I sell you guys on Game of the Year for the Mammoth right now?
No, I'm in.
I'm in too.
You didn't have to sell it all.
I was just talking about this because first of all, you've never beaten the Edmonton Oilers with the name Utah associated with your name as a franchise. They got to get that monkey off their back a little bit, especially if they do end up facing them, because then going into the playoffs, if they have to take those guys on and they've never beaten them before, that's got to stick in their mind.
It's not just the head-to-head matchup too. To your point, they have been a thorn in Utah's side, either predating this year or even this year for that matter. But let's just look at the math here. I mean, Utah. By the way, we talked about this back in January, but this pace is held. If the Mammoth close the season as we expect, by goal differential, this is the best team that has ever been on the ice for either the Utah or Phoenix, Arizona Coyotes franchise by goal differential this season right here, right now. So that's number one. Number two, that puts them 40 goals clear of the Anaheim Ducks by season end. That is a pretty significant gap. For context of how big that gap is, that's like Utah staring up at Colorado, right? So, if you can win in regulation against Edmonton and force Edmonton and Vegas to play each other in that 2-3 matchup in the Pacific, and you draw an Anaheim team that, among other things, has rode the coattails of an 8-0 shootout record to an 87-point and potential winning the division. All this to say, I think Utah not only they're 99% likely to qualify at this point. They basically need a point or two to get in. If they win in regulation tonight, they're all but in, number one. They push Edmonton down. They elevate Anaheim up. And this team absolutely should not be thinking we made it to the playoffs. What an accomplishment. At this point, considering how good the Mammoth have been, and I mean that, they really should be thinking, how do we go in and win a round in the playoffs? And I think if you've got Anaheim on the ice, even if you're the road team in that series, that's a matchup the Mammoth should want, and it's one they should win.
I agree. Tonight's the most important game in Utah Mammoth history so far because of everything you just said about the stakes in this game. But then on the flip side of that, if they don't win tonight and they don't get the points, with 5 games left, they're only 3 clear of the Kings and 4 clear of the Predators, and the Predators are coming to Salt Lake City on Thursday. If they don't win tonight, how nervous should Mammoth fans get? Is that enough to hold on with 5 games left in the season based on their schedule, or do they need to sweat this out a little bit if they don't win tonight?
Yeah, they can afford. No one ever wants to hear this, and usually when you say something like this, and then the team rattles off 3 regulation losses, they're looking to hang you in a public square. So I get it, but truly, the Mammoth really need a point, ideally 2, to really get in, so to speak. And again, everything this team has shown us all year is, they've looked awful in stretches, they've looked dominant in stretches, right? But on net, they're more often than not going to win a game, and you got to hope that this team is good enough to find a path into an overtime game or two. I mean, there's a world where they go 0-3-2 down the stretch and pretty comfortably get in. And one other thing that I want to emphasize, to your point, Nashville, white hot. I mean, the Blues have been white hot. They're a little further back. The Kings have kind of held on. You've got a bunch of teams kind of still in the rear view, and you can still see them. But these aren't good teams. I mean, these teams also have to win 4 of the next 5 of the next 6 to even make this a bit of a sweat. Is it mathematically possible? Yes. But like I said, Utah's 99% likely to make the playoffs right now with 5 games remaining. A 1% chance is always a 1% chance, but it is just literally a 1% chance. So ideally they take care of business tonight, and they even, the other benefit too is if you rack these points early, you can cordon off that final week of the season, maybe give a few of your really critical guys some rest going into the playoffs. And that's pretty rare in NHL circles that you're ever in a position to be in that boat. And usually it's a team with a dominant division lead like Colorado. But, Utah, let's say they win their next 2 games, they'll be all but guaranteed the first wild card spot. That's an opportunity to get Vishmelka some rest. Keller, Cooley, Gunther, doesn't matter. I would expect them to do that. But again, it starts with tonight.
Listen to the attitude of a guy going, hey, you could coast into the playoffs enough to rest your guys. No one here has even thought about that because of how. Look, when we have the coach on, we have Bear on every week. I'm going to ask him this week, hey, when you guys clinch, coach, you going to rest your guys?
What's the plan for rest in 2 weeks, coach?
The head coach would never relinquish something like that. But the way that they're playing and the way that this season has kind of gone here, people here are nervous because the home record for the Mammoth actually has not been very good, especially compared to the road. They've been hot on the road and been very mid at home. How weird is that, like in an NHL sense? Because it seems like home barns always give you the advantage, and teams are just kind of just barely making it, it seems like, if they're a playoff team, even when they're at other people's barns. But Utah's been the opposite.
Yeah, it's a little weird. They have not been a great home team. I think that's a fair point. And quite frankly, for as good as they've been on the road, it's offset by their home weakness. But, one thing that cracks me up is like, okay, they've got 19 wins. I think they've got 19 wins at home.
Yeah.
Well, Vegas has 18. And for the last 9 years, people have talked about the Golden Knights organization and them on home ice like the Montreal Canadiens, and for good reason. So, should Utah be better at home? I think unequivocally the answer is yes, but you got to look around the league and certainly around the conference. And, Minnesota's 2 wins better at home. Vegas is 1 win worse. The Kings have 13 wins the entire season at home, and they're in the second wild card spot right now. So, yeah, to your point, I think it's a fair question because it's like this team is good, probably very good. We should expect more from them at home. But then when you start comparing on a relative basis, it's like, yeah, they're actually in a pretty decent spot. So eye of the beholder, I guess, on that one.
You look at defensively, I think you look at the Mammoth, and they've certainly been elite all year. And now the offense seems to be catching up. I know you pay attention to a lot of the analytics and the numbers. How good is this team playing right now offensively?
Fantastic. I mean, they've been a top 5 scoring offense for most of the league. And one of the reasons, by the way, I want to pull on a common thread here because I think people think like the most explosive offenses in the league are, Edmonton, because they got McDavid and Draisaitl at the top of the lineup, or Colorado, right? Same thing with McKinnon. Most of the great offenses this year have a dynamic top line, but they also have the requisite depth. And, in a hard cap league, that's almost an impossible thing to find. You really have to draft and develop well. We certainly know the Coyotes set them up on the draft and develop part of this stage. But look at Utah, look at Buffalo, look at Montreal, look at Carolina. What's the unifying theme across all 4 of these dominant teams that are effectively all 4 in the playoffs at this point? The common theme is, you can name their top line, and their top line's probably dynamic. In Montreal's case, exquisitely so with the Caulfield-Suzuki line. In Utah's case, with Clayton Keller's line. Those are, for my money, by the way, mathematically speaking, the 2 best lines in the second half of the season. That includes the Nathan McKinnon line. That's how good that Clayton Keller line's been in Utah. But the really backstopping component of what makes a good team very good and what allows these teams to win in the playoffs is you have to be able to carry the depth. You have to be able to roll at least 2, if not 3, quality defensive pairings. One thing that's not lost on me here is there are for what Utah may lack in the true quote unquote top end talent at their lineup, they more than make up for it because there isn't really a line out there. Maybe the fourth line at times a little bit, but there really isn't a line out there you feel uncomfortable with. And I think, if I'm a Mammoth fan, I really appreciate that fact because I promise you, go look around the league, watch other teams. That is not the case. Some of these teams, even decent teams around the league that don't have the same caliber of depth, sweat for half the night because you're just hoping and praying you're not getting scored on and you don't expect much from the offense, from the group on the ice, offensively speaking, to boot. Meanwhile, Utah is carrying a top 5 offense. I mentioned this earlier today by random chance too, but I think it's worth noting. The best defensive pairing in the entire league by the numbers, and it's not even close, it has been John Marino and Nate Schmidt. They are 30 goals opponents when in strength. There isn't a unit. There is not a defensive pairing in the league that's even above 20 goals better than break even at even strength this year. Whereas Schmidt and Marino, 2 veterans, 2 guys who have played in many different environments with many teammates, they have been the best defensive pairing this year. And what a finding that has been for the organization and the head coach.
Travis Yost, he covers the NHL for TSN. As these playoffs start to kind of solidify and we start to get a little bit, obviously over the next week, we're going to get a really good focus on what these matchups really are going to be. When you look, though, at the standings, it's easy to go, wow, the Avs are the best. Wow, Dallas is pretty good. Wow, the Wild are really good in the Central. Those are all really, really good teams. Across the entire league right now, who's playing the best hockey that you would be more fearful of than maybe the odds-on favorites types that people have in their head?
It's a great question. I'll give you a few of them because I think let's set Utah aside for a little bit here, although I think they've been one of the better teams in the back half. I don't think they're at the top of the list. I think the Buffalo Sabres in the East have been an absolute freight train for the second half of the year. They're in this triumvirate race right now with the Tampa Bay Lightning and Montreal Canadiens, which, by the way, is the fun part of the playoff positioning because some of the wild card race out in the East, it's like, all right, who do we need to beg to get to the second spot because it's been a painful watch. But that race for the first place in the Atlantic Division, it's not just three very good teams. It's three teams that are militantly competitive. Some of the most bad blood matchups on ice this regular season have been the Sabres and the Lightning. Two teams, 1,000 miles removed from each other. But every Sabres Lightning game has been frenetic and crazy. The Sabres play very similar to the way the Mammoth do, where very few weaknesses in the lineup. They play such an up-tempo game. And they have found goaltending this year for the first time. They're going to end a 14-year playoff drought in Buffalo, and it's not because they suddenly found scoring. They've had scoring for a few years. They actually found league average goaltending behind a great offense. And when you combine average goaltending with a great offense,
he was in the middle of a fantastic rant too. So
we'll try to get him back for one more question. I got a good one for him.
He must have just called right back. Let's see if we can get him back here because we're mid-sentence here. All right, Travis, continue. We were just sorry. I cut you off.
Yeah, you're talking about the Atlantic battle, which is great.
The Atlantic battle is great, but one other team I would pivot to quickly, and my apologies. Everyone talks with Colorado with extreme reverence, as they should. I think Carolina should be talked about with the same reverence. I know they haven't won a Stanley Cup, but this has been the singularly most reliably dominant regular season team over the last decade. They completely take the air out of games. They're as good defensively as any team in the league. They don't have a bunch of guys who sit in the defensive zone. They're so good defensively because they always have the puck. And most importantly, people knock them for not winning a title yet. And to some degree, that's fair. But this is a team that has won many playoff series over the past 10 years. Maybe this is Carolina's year out east. And that is a team, if not Colorado, I've got my eyes firmly.
You joked earlier in the show about the dysfunction in Toronto and one of the premier franchises in the league struggling. And now they've fired their GM as well. You watch that situation, and there's this rumors floating around that Dawson Matthews may want to find another place to play. If he does ask for a trade, where do you think the best spot for him to land is?
Oh, that's a great question. It's likely out west, number one, and that's both for him and for the Maple Leafs jointly. I don't think you'll see a scenario where he ended east for either scenario.
Right.
I could see, it's interesting. My brain viscerally goes to the Los Angeles Kings, who hold the second wild card spot, and I want to emphasize they decided to make a splash with Artemi Panarin before the trade deadline, who, even though they signed him on a pretty tight deal in terms of term, he is going to consume a fairly sizable amount of cap space. You do wonder about Anze Kopitar, who's obviously in the twilight of his career. Matthews would be forget a plug-and-play replacement, could be an upgrade. One thing I would say about Matthews, though, and I say this as someone who, I like to take a shot at the Maple Leafs organization from time to time, get their fans all juiced up. It gets me up in the morning. However, I have to say this. I've been a long, long time Auston Matthews bull. Every time a guy explodes into the NHL circle with some crazy hot shooting percentage, everyone in the analytics community wants to bet against it. Mathematically speaking, it usually is the right bet. Matthews, though, very early in his career, kind of established himself as more of like a Steven Stamkos, Ilya Kovalchuk. I'm just an elite shooter. I can score from any area of the ice, and there's no reason that skill, when I do have that skill, it would abate, in my mid to late 20s. The injury stuff, though, is starting to pile up a little bit with Matthews, and for the first time in his career, I did not think he looked nearly as dynamic. This is before his knee injury that obviously took him out for the rest of the year. He did not look nearly as dynamic as the player we have seen in Toronto for the years prior. And I think it's fair to say, he was good at the Olympics, but he was kind of lost in the I would say in the ordering of the broader Team USA, who were the most dominant players. Matthews had a game or two, but it was usually we were affixed to either the Kachucks had a game. Jack Eichel was masterful in the round robin. Jack Hughes was obviously fantastic, and it's like, okay, you're comparing him to other greats, but I think the likely scenario is if Toronto did end up moving him, he would move west. The Kings, and by the way, since we take them off, I don't want to take the Kings off completely. That's a logical landing spot. At San Jose is another very intriguing idea because that team has been retooling for the past couple years. Macklin Celebrini is as dynamic as any player this side of Connor McDavid you're going to find in the league. And the thought of having Celebrini and Matthews as a 1-2 punch, that's about as terrifying as McDavid Draisaitl. So, and the Sharks, by the way, have the cap space and the assets to pull it off. So hopefully, for Mammoth fans' sake, if Matthews has moved, it's Pacific Division oriented.
Travis Yost, TSN is where you can find that byline. He covers the NHL, and he's all over the place. He knows all of it. He knows all these teams. He knows what's going on. Taking the temperature of this league this is the guy to go to. Travis, I don't want to jinx it, but we'll talk to you during the playoffs.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. Let's make it a date right before Game 1. I'll come on. They'll be in Orange County. We'll be prepping Game 1. Have me on. All right.
Game 83. We're there.
Yeah, that's what
Game
Coach
83,
says.
boys.
Love it. Thanks, Travis. Appreciate it.
Take
man.
care.
There you go. Was that bad form? Trying to jinx it.
Mammoth fans are screaming at their radio.
Why did
right
you
now.
do that?
You idiot.
Well, that's the thing is we're going to have him on talking about other people in the playoffs if it's not the Mammoth. Hey,
That's going to be sad, though.
so the Mammoth were going to be playing the Ducks, but it looks like it's the looks like it's the Preds. We start going through. No, I don't think. I'm not
breaking
going
down
far.
that Kings Avalanche series after the Kings get 8 of 10 points
Stop
in the
it.
last stretch.
Stop it. I'm not going to accept it. All right?
Okay.
Game 83. I'm with Bear, man. Game 83. That's the most important one. We'll take a break. We'll come back. When we do, we've got much more around the corner. Hey, is it a good time to give away Jazz tickets right now? Yeah, why not? It's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday. One more ride for this 2025-2026 Jazz team. You can put the season to bed over here at Delta Center with the ticket giveaway that we love to do every Tuesday. It's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, and your chance to win tickets is right now.
Call this number now.
Call this number now.
Be caller number 12 at 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. And you'll be on your way to Delta Center to see the Utah Jazz.
He fires the three. He hits. Oh, don't do me like that.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
So all you have to do is just give us a call right now. A Jazz Ticket Tuesday goes like this. Caller number 12 gets 2 tickets to see the Jazz and the Grizzlies final home game on April 10th. That's this Friday at Delta Center. 7:30 is your tip-off. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-9663. We will come back. We'll assign another golfer for our Copper Rock Masters giveaway. Don't want to miss it. Stay here. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Your daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz.
It's time.
All season long and even in the off season. It's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. You know what that music means, of course. It's that time for our Jazz Daily. You got the Utah Jazz firing up tonight down in New Orleans, taking on the Pelicans. Quick Pels update.
Did somebody ask for one?
I know. We do the Jazz at your Jazz at 30 update. Your Pels at 37 update here on the.
What injury does Zion Williamson have today?
I mean, look.
Gastric distress?
Stop it. That was a food joke. All right. I don't appreciate it.
Too much Taco Bell.
But it tracks. The Pelicans 25-54 on the season. Now, what the Pelicans do right now is their own business because nothing that they're going to do is going to change anything of what happens in the lottery for them. Who do they owe their pick to?
The Atlanta Hawks.
The Hawks. Now, what is the percentage chance of the Pelicans getting – what's the highest pick that they're available to? What's the thing that what are they going to be this year's Mavericks? Suddenly just swoop in? Do Pelicans swoop?
They can't swoop. They have no swooping. They don't have the ability to swoop.
Hold on,
they traded away.
They're not a flightless bird. No, I'm saying the actual Pelicans. I'm saying if the Pelicans, I know they're trading away. I'm saying whatever they get, the lottery that ends up happening there, would the Pelicans pick would that be able to be turned into a number one pick?
Oh, sure.
What's the number?
Right now we're at 7th or 6th. So I'm just played the lottery, and boom, you asked me where could they finish. They moved up 5. They're at 6 currently. They moved up 5 spots to win the lottery.
No, they didn't.
For the Atlanta Hawks.
Gosh, dang it.
And that would mean the Hawks would get a number 1 overall pick.
This is what we are
for the
dealing
second
with.
time in 4 years.
As people
3
who
years.
cover this Jazz team, this is what we deal with every year. I feel like.
Right.
Napolis just
This is
got
how
depressed.
stupid the lottery is.
Alex Napolis just got a desperate look on his face like, are you kidding me? Even the fake.
Can you imagine the Atlanta Hawks getting A.J. DeBonsa? No. It's not as bad as Dallas getting Cooper Flagg, but I just played the sim lottery, and Dallas moved up 6 spots to 2nd.
I would say that people want A.J. DeBonsa more this year for the Jazz than they did Cooper Flagg last year for the Jazz.
Oh, there's no question about that.
So
And
it would be more depressing.
I think we feel entitled.
Yes.
We've dealt with heartbreak year in and year out in this rebuilding process of not winning the lottery. Never in franchise history has the Jazz won the lottery. Even when they had the number 1 pick back in 1979, they sold it for Gail Goodrich, basically. It turned out to be Magic Johnson. Like, the Jazz have never had any luck when it comes to getting that number 1 pick, winning a lottery, and hitting it big and getting that superstar in the draft. They've had to get lucky. Karl Malone, 13th overall. John Stockton, 17th. The list goes on and on. I mean, Donovan Mitchell was, a 14 or a 13?
13, yes.
I mean, every marquee player, Rudy Gobert was 27th. Every marquee player in franchise history, outside of a Darrell Griffith, who was number 2 overall,
Right. Yep.
has been a steal in the draft. The Jazz have always had to find a diamond in the rough, a steal in the draft. Paul Millsap I think he was taken during a Taco Bell commercial. We never talk about that, but I don't have any video of Paul Millsap going up to a podium and shaking the commissioner's hand. So they've had some second-round hits as well. It's just this feeling now is it's due. It's time. It's been 50 years that this franchise has been around. It's time for the Jazz to win the lottery. And if they get screwed again, it's just going to be like, got to be kidding me. Unfortunately, you don't have to worry about the lottery anymore after this year for a while. But it would be nice on the way out to at least get a nice parting gift.
Speaking of a parting gift, the New Orleans Saints and the New Orleans Pelicans are owned by, any guesses? A little Pelicans quiz for you.
The Benson family?
It is the Benson family. In fact, it's just Gail.
Bang.
It's Gail.
Oh, yeah.
Who?
Tom passed away.
What did you say? Yeah,
Tom's
Tom,
no longer with us.
Like I said, best parting gift ever.
Yeah.
NBA team, NFL team.
So New Orleans has a Gail, too.
New Orleans has a Gail, and she's actually considered one of the most active and on top of it owners in the league because here's the other thing is she's a native New Orleansiano. She's a
Don't look at me.
She's native of New Orleans. So any guesses on the mascot for the New Orleans Pelicans, of course, is a pelican.
Yes.
Any guesses on his name?
Pete?
Really close. I think it's Pete in French.
Pierre.
You got it. Pierre the Pelican.
That makes sense.
I'll
That
give
tracks.
it to you. You know what? I'll give it to you.
Is Pierre Pete in French?
I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew that.
I knew that. Hold
I'm
on.
smart. Of course.
So let me see here.
Now you're going to get to the Google translator?
Pierre is the standard French masculine given name and the equivalent to Peter in the English language.
There you go.
There you go.
Boom.
Look at
got
me.
it.
Look at me helping you guys out.
Thank you.
The arena that they play in is the
Smoothie King.
I love Smoothie King. It's one
I've
of my
been in that
favorites.
arena.
I know. I have too. I love Smoothie King Center. Woo!
That hosted the Sweet 16 game when in 2011, Jimmer Fredette and
Oh yeah.
BYU playing Florida.
If you're not pumping out, look, if you're at the Sweet 16 and you're at the Smoothie King Center, if you're not pumping out some Sweet 16 smoothies, like, come on. I've never enjoyed a Smoothie King myself.
I've never been to Smoothie King in all my travels.
Oh, I'm trying to think of other trivia that we should know about this team. Got to get to know your
Getting to know the
opponent.
Pels.
Yeah, of course.
Can you name anybody that's starting tonight for them?
Oh my heavens!
Seriously, who's starting tonight for them?
Brandon Ingram still playing? No. Remember when they walked him out of town too? What are
Yeah.
they doing? What are they doing down there?
Rebuilding.
Who's the best New Orleans Pelican who's ever played on that
Anthony Davis.
team? Okay.
CJ McCollum.
Was Chris Paul a Pelican at some point, or was he just a Hornet?
No, he was just a Hornet. He
Okay.
played on the New Orleans, Oklahoma City Hornets. Remember those days?
What an era!
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered if he'd crossed over at any point. Yeah.
Yeah, he spent a lot of his years in New Orleans.
Yeah. AD, back when he was trying hard, man, he's a good player, man. Okay. I'm trying to think.
Drew Holiday was really, really good. So Drew
for
Holiday's
sure.
on the list and Baron Davis as well. Technically a New Orleans Hornet, but same
yeah.
franchise.
Yeah, same franchise. Yes. Okay. Who would you least wanted to play for? The Charlotte Bobcats or the New Orleans Hornets?
The New Orleans. Well, no, the Bobcats. The Charlotte Bobcats. The Charlotte Bobcats, I don't think they ever made the playoff. Well, did they ever make the playoffs in their franchise
I don't know.
history?
I just remember the worst logo in sports history, the worst color
Everything
combo in
about
sports
the
history.
Charlotte Bobcats is forgettable. Everything.
All right. Hey, Napolis is what's the word on Yusuf Nurkic's nose?
Still out.
Still out. Not good. Gosh, we're praying for him.
I'm starting to worry about him. Should we send him cards?
We're praying for that nose, man.
Should fans get together and send him a card or something?
We do that here, by the way.
That's why I say. I mean, there's a lot of people that are willing to do that.
I'm saying that I think that Nurk of course is still nursing the nose. Nurk nursing the nose. Greg Wrubell would be proud. The alliterations. Everybody else is out as well. What else is anything added to this one? I don't think that you still have your normal one. It's just going to be the same because I think that Ace is out, right? So Flip is going to play. We were wondering about the back for Flip. He's going to play. Yeah. Now available. At a local Jazz franchise near you. He's available. Okay. No Ace. No Harkless. Collier, Key, still out. And of course, Nurk with the knee. Are they listing Lowry's as is they listing it still as the hip? They just say, okay. It's not personal reasons or something or illness. Okay. Just wondering. Still the hip. All right. How's this one go down, JJ?
The
Save
Jazz
it.
better lose.
Save it. We got a lot. We still have one more segment to go.
Well, then, I didn't. I said they better, but I didn't
That's a
say they
tease.
would.
All right. We have ourselves one more time to be able to give away a Copper Rock Masters qualification for the Masters this weekend. Be calling number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-9663. You'll get assigned a player or the field. And if your golfer wins the Masters, this is always fun because you have something to watch the Masters for, not just because you love golf, but because you're going to be rooting for somebody. If your golfer wins, you get 18 holes for 2 at Copper Rock Golf Course in Hurricane, and then you also get a $100 gas gift card to get you there and back as well. Copper Rock, where the pros play. We'll come right back. More to go right around the corner. We'll get you ready for the Jazz and Pelicans coming up. Top of the hour is going to be your pregame, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide,
Love it.
this is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex
Don't touch that dial.
on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, the KSL Sports Zone of Beehive Meals are honoring people that impact the youth sports in your communities. You can nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week program at kslsports.com/contests. You can listen every Thursday to our program where we designate a winner based off of those nominations. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. They get $250 to Beehive Meals, and we give them a shout out on the socials. JJ, how does this one go in New Orleans at the Smoothie King Center?
Jazz lose. Mammoth win.
Are they both playing there tonight? Wait, are the Mammoth beating the Jazz tonight? Are they
Well,
playing
the Mammoth
Jazz?
better not play at Smoothie King. They better be here at the Delta Center. Sorry
Jazz
about the
could
confusion.
probably lose to the Mammoth. That would be amazing. All right, coming up, you've got Jazz basketball pregame right now. It is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.